And a call now for some tough new consequences for those in the lockdown hypocrisy Hall of Fame, like the mayor of Austin, who was on a Mexican vacation when he told his constituents to stay home to stop the spread of COVID. He did say that he was sorry for that, but my next guest says the apology just does not go far enough and is not good enough. Governor Mike Huckabee here, in his own words, the former Arkansas governor and Fox News contributor, joins us now. Governor, it was tough to take a lot of those instances of hypocrisy. Does sorry cut it?
No, it doesn't. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of the people whose kids are having to stay home from school, they're missing their work because they can't go to work. They have to stay home and take care of kids whose schools are closed. This hypocrisy is terrible. But you know who hadn't missed a single paycheck? People working in government, city, state, federal. They all got every paycheck. Here's what we need to do. These mayors and governors who have ordered people to miss their jobs, let them take a pay cut. Let them do without their pay for a month and say, I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do. That'd be one thing. And the fact is, the just glaring hypocrisy, what it reveals is this, Sandra. These people don't believe in a lockdown. They don't believe that social distancing and wearing a mask works, because if it did, they'd be doing it. Instead, they just want to impose these restrictions on other people. Personally, I do believe that we ought to be wearing masks and social distancing. And I'm not ordering other people to do it. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. These folks who are ordering it but not doing it, they should resign.
But and Governor, I think so many people watching and listening to you right now, they agree. We're all trying to do what we can to stay safe, but you see the shattering of lives and businesses that is happening right now. And again, another multi-week shutdown in California. And then to have Admiral Giroir on this program say that there's no science behind the outdoor restaurant shutdown. He didn't say that needs to happen. It's not essential to stop the spread, to shut down that outdoor dining. I mean, what is going on here?
I think it's not about controlling the virus. It's about controlling the population. It's about people exhibiting their power and being power crazy. And the sad thing is, a lot of people are just going along with it. In California, churches were told they couldn't have more than 10 people in a church. Now, you could go to a strip club. I jokingly suggested on Sean Hannity's program that pastors ought to stand up and say they're going to open a strip club for church, strip off their tie in the middle of the sermon, and have as many people as they wanted. Some California pastors actually did that. Rob McCoy at Godspeak Calvary Chapel in Thousand Oaks. It was hilarious, but it made the point. If you're going to say that it's so dangerous to have more than 10 people, then be consistent. And that's not what's happening. And I hear this all the time. Let's listen to the science. Okay, let's listen to the science. And the science doesn't tell us that outdoor dining is really harmful. So why are we doing it? Because there's some government bureaucrat or elected official who has it in his head that he's a prince and everybody else is a peasant. And it's disgusting, it's immoral, and it's certainly not how we're supposed to be as a country, where our public servants are to serve us, not us serve them.
Governor, we have a sort of a list of those who made the Hall of Fame for the hypocrisy that we've kind of kept track of. Of course, there was a story with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who was seen pictured in that fancy restaurant, French Laundry. Days later, the San Francisco mayor, who was days later imposing tough new restrictions, was there seated at the very same restaurant. We talked about the Austin mayor. But Governor, I hear you say you're shocked by how many people just go along with these tough restrictions. But what are people supposed to do? I mean, they want to abide by the law. They don't want to get hit by fines. They don't want to be troublemakers, but they want to do the right thing. So what are you suggesting by that?
Well, I suggest that they do what they believe is the right thing. They're free Americans. You know, we're not living under tyranny here. I think some people may feel like that we're coming to that. But be responsible. As I said before, I'm taking all the steps that we're told to take, but I'm not doing it because some tyrant is telling me I have to. I'm doing it because I want to protect myself, my family, my friends, and the people I bump into. I don't have to be ordered to do it, but people ought to have some freedom in this country, and especially when it comes to going to church. It's ridiculous to say that you can go to a big box store and bump shoulders with hundreds of total strangers and touch the items that they just touched, but you can't go to church and sit and sing a hymn, because that might end up being way worse than going to a strip club, a casino, or a big discount store. It just makes no sense at all. There's got to be consistency. The fact that there isn't is causing people to become cynical. That's a real public health risk when we get cynical and we don't believe anything our government officials tell us.
And emotions are running so high. We're about to get this update on this bar owner who's defying the tough restrictions in the New York City area, Staten Island. That bar owner who we have tracked for quite some time, his story, getting arrested for defying the restrictions. And I mean, you just wonder what point this all gets to. Every day you kind of think we've reached, you know, the max capacity that we can handle. And now this multi-week shutdown in California. Governor, always appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sandra.